Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Gotham is back. It's 2015. Happy New Year, everybody. Episode 11, Rogues Gallery, Alonzo Duralde, William Bibiani, Francis Maxwell. Maybe there's a clip. Let's take a look.
Penguin, it's good to see you. What are you guys doing?
Old friend, thank goodness you're here. There's been some silly mistake.
Looks like it. Unless you irritated someone important, you didn't do that, did you?
Me? Of course not.
See, I like having you here. So I can sit at my desk and look at you. It's soothing, like a bonsai tree.
This was fun. I had a fun time with this one. I think it's interesting. Like I liked that they were able to tell a fun story with Jim Gordon as the security guard at Arkham. That felt like a real story. It didn't really add up very well, though. I hate it at the end where it's like, all of my staff is trustworthy. They've been here for 5 years, except for that one lady who's an inmate pretending to be a nurse, and I didn't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, the main story for me was very predictable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
but
there weren't enough suspects for one thing.
Yeah.
of course. But aside from that, the underworld stories were, for me, the main focus point of it. I really liked that. I really enjoyed Butch come Sonny Black, come like suddenly just taking on this gangster role driven by his own ambition or his loyalty to Fish. We don't know. It's either between both. And that, for me, again, is these little side stories, which is keeping me watching Gotham and keeping me enjoying it, because it's got that, like the whole gangster feel at the end of it when he's just sitting and the music's playing slowly in the background and he goes through and has to whack his best friend. It was very Donnie Brasco, like, forget about it constantly. So, I mean, that's for me is a good side of Gotham. It provides a different twist that I don't think we've seen for a while.
What I like about Batman and what a lot of Batman origin stories tell is they tell the story of how Gotham went from being a proper city full of organized crime to be a place run by loud personalities, freaks, just completely shucking this old system. And you see this, here's this guy who's torn between, it can be an old school good fella, or I can work for a supervillain.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna work for the supervillain. I'm not entirely sure why.
Yeah.
Maybe he just thinks he's more threatening.
But
like that, just closing it out that way felt classy to me.
Do you think he's wanting to like side with Fish, or do you think he might be thinking about going it himself?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's either that he sees her as somebody easier to overcome than his childhood friend,
Yes, that's what I was
or
thinking.
that if that sleeping with the boss is better than being like, capo number 4.
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Well,
But you're right. No, I agree with you. The Batfellas is my favorite part of this show,
Yes,
for sure. My least favorite part of the show is, Bob Kane's Gotham Babies.
Yeah.
And this week we have Barbara calling Jim's apartment and thinking that he's having an affair with an 11-year-old.
I think
She had a very convincing,
No, she
sexy
didn't.
woman voice.
No,
she
she
did
didn't.
not.
She did a disturbingly
It was-
convincing, sexy 11-year-old.
Yeah,
was so bad.
Because Selena, at least, has the face of Rene Russo on a tween, but the Ivy is just a little girl.
Ivy is a little
No,
girl.
it was
and
embarrassing.
It was
It's embarrassing.
weird. And I remember at the end of the last season, they cut to Barbara and Renee Montoya in bed together, and it's like, ooh, saucy.
Yes.
And then they cut back to it in this episode, and Barbara was still in bed, and Barbara was laughing. Oh my God, was she in bed the whole time? Yeah.
She was.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
You'll just drop
Pill bottle by
just
the
do
on
it
the
just
right.
drop
table.
into this abyss where you're just supposed to assume that they just have this drug-fueled like lesbian fling when
Yeah.
they had no really lead up to what was going on. I mean, for all we knew, she left Jim for Renee, but then you suddenly just find out that they've just gone crazy in a binge.
Oh, yeah, and they cut straight to lesbian bed death without any of the fun stuff on the way. And
Is that a thing?
yeah, it's a thing. Google it. But what I don't get is, okay, so you're involved with a police officer, and then you wind up getting taken hostage, and you're concerned for your life, and you've got to get away from it all. So of course you go running to the arms of another cop.
Yes, that's what it was at
how
first.
does that work?
I think it's just going back to bad habits. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's falling back into, well, she's got a problem. She's got a problem, and not being a lesbian, but pills. Pills would be bad.
She's fastly becoming my least favorite character because she left Jim at a moment where he really needed her, you know what I mean? And she goes to another cop, and then you just find out that it was all just some sort of fling. We don't know whether she's actually in love with Renee or not. We're just led to assume that that's not the problem. But then she calls back up Jim. What is she trying to think of? That Jim's suddenly just going to come to her rescue?
Well, she's got to live
After she leaves
somewhere.
him?
Which is weird because I thought she was rich. Like
I thought that was her apartment. Like, would you leave that apartment? Wouldn't you be like, Jim, I'm so sorry it's not working out. I'm really afraid you need to get out now because this apartment's great. I'm not leaving.
When this show started, we looked at her apartment with Jim and we said, wow, that apartment is amazing. There's absolutely no way he can afford that on a cop's salary. It must be her money. Then she goes to live with Renee and her apartment is also amazing.
Yes.
It's just, you know, I think property is just really cheap in Gotham.
Yeah, apparently.
Because of the crime rates.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's no demands. You can get a great apartment anyway.
Cops can get a loft for a song. Yeah.
No Bruce this episode.
No Bruce this episode.
Yeah. Did we miss? I didn't even notice. I was looking up on IMDb. I'm like, oh right, Bruce Wayne is on this show. Whoops.
Can we talk a little bit? Was he the electrocutioner? Were we led to believe that?
The electrocutioner. I don't think the electrocutioner is a real thing.
Yeah,
I think they're making that up.
No, but he was in a DC comic a while back.
The electrocutioner?
Yeah, he came out in 1989, if my research serves me right.
Wow,
Yeah, it's the electrocutioner.
I did not recognize the electrocutioner.
I read an article that was led to assume that that's him.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I guess so.
Gruber, I remember seeing him. He gave off creep vibes, like very, very early.
yeah.
I thought they do a good job of hiring like villains that portray kind of creepiness. I think they're good. He was in Twilight, believe it or not. If you've ever seen him, he played the kind of distant like monarchy. One of the guys that was just standing there with a pale face. He's one of those guys. But I thought he was a pretty good villain. I mean, the storyline wasn't.
Alice Wheatley was fun.
Oh, Beasley.
Alice
Beasley.
Thank
you. The second she appeared on screen, I was like, wow, that nurse is so Agnes DePesto. And then I was like, oh shit, that nurse is Agnes DePesto. From Moonlighting, look it up.
I like a lot of the cast in this episode. Like Morena Baccarin has a lot of charm too. I love her.
Mrs. Brody from Homeland for
also
me.
Firefly, but okay. And Isaiah Whitlock.
Yes.
Who does the best exasperated, corrupt, like, official ever. Like, I kept waiting him, like, if you're a fan of The Wire, just waiting for him to go, yeah, someone's killing all our inmates? Shit.
If you have never seen Cedar Rapids, where he plays a character who impersonates his character from The Wire, it's pretty great.
That was amazing. I forgot about it. It's the only good thing about that movie.
Not true. Anyway.
It didn't blow me.
So I've got a sense that Jim and the other, I don't know her name, the other doctor that was there, I sense something.
Leslie Tompkins.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the table right now. Something's going to come up.
I would love that. She's a character from the Batman mythos.
Oh, yeah.
They're certainly introducing her as that.
Yes.
You know.
She's
Which one will be the mother?
Oh, no.
No, I'm just.
Oh, because there was that show.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
More coffee.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's good, man.
The show has consistently been good about calling up interesting guest stars. Which definitely I think plays in its favor and helps to create a more interesting, because the show's called Gotham. So I mean, it really is. It should ideally be kind of an ensemble and kind of this weird city where every time you turn a corner, oh, there's Amanda Plummer. You know.
Well, I mean, you look back at the old Adam West show, which I got over Christmas. I'm so excited about it. But like every week, they didn't say like guest star Burgess Meredith. They said special guest villain.
Right.
Burgess Meredith. It was a big deal. People would come on the show and be excited to be a part of this, even if it was technically beneath their station.
Well,
that's what I'm getting off of Gotham, is just attracting fun people.
Yeah, I'm excited that they actually didn't catch the villain and that he's now going, it's not just villain of the week, it might be villain of the 2 weeks if they catch him next week, to prevent this constant cycle of just going back and forth, trying to catch him. What about the Penguin? Because I liked that again, but I mean, anything that doesn't have as much Penguin in it, I'm not too thrilled about. I'd like to see more of him. But I think it was good, kind of putting him in his place, not too much of a hot shot.
Yeah, I think it's a reminder that like nothing comes easy for this character.
Yeah.
He just gets shit on at every turn, which is just building him more and more to be like the complete sociopath that he eventually becomes, because he doesn't, nothing comes easy for any of these people. But if you're Fish Mooney, you're attractive, you're personable, you have a way of kind of seducing people, whether literally or figuratively. But boy, when you're Oswald Cobblepot, you just got nothing on your side, and it's just going to be one humiliation.
He's constantly being referred to as animals, like Penguin, and then he was called a monkey. It didn't take well to being called a monkey. You see,
he finally embraced Penguin. Only like I'm not doing monkey.
But it's the Penguin.
I'm the Penguin. Yeah.
No. I like it, and I think it really hits the nail on the head. It's interesting to see a guy who is so clearly dangerous and obviously so destined for maybe not greatness, but destined to be important in Gotham.
Station.
Yeah, exactly. And to see them struggle, it almost feels like I almost look at him like I look at Blackadder.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's clearly intelligent and better than this, but he just can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's a good
Still,
comparison.
the cops have little to no authorities. Maroni just like, what am I talking, Hungarian? Open that cage. I thought it was a good line from
I
him.
liked Gordon getting reunited with his cop friends after a little while. It feels like they've earned the relationship he has with Harvey Bullock.
Bullock,
now.
very
and
relatable.
even the chief. It's just we had our differences, but you got to respect his integrity.
Yes.
And everyone likes him, and he's just happy to see him. And I bought it.
And this is one of those things where watching episodic TV is different than binge watching, because if you had seen the last episode and this episode back to back, no time has passed. Whereas we had to wait several weeks for the show to come back. So now when Gordon sees those guys again, we can fill in the blanks of, oh yeah, we haven't seen any of you in a while. So there's been an absence there, that we can sort of that we can put onto it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed, just as you were going on the point, I enjoyed Bullock throughout. I mean, he always gives that kind of like comedic reference throughout. He's always someone that I can just, rather than being so serious about, like laugh when he walks into the nut house straight away and the guy walks up to him and starts reciting Shakespeare. He's like, all right, I dig it. And he just goes forward. Like, I thought he was great in doing that.
And that was why it was so easy to figure out who the killer was, because someone's evil when they stage the tempest. How dare they?
Giveaway.
Well, we will see the electrocutioner again next month.
And that's if he is the electrocutioner. Right?
No, he is. They said it in the thing.
Oh, he did.
They said
Okay,
it in the thing.
cool.
Yeah, they was like, well, I think we had like the Riddler. It's like, I think we'll call him the electrocutioner. I'm like, calm down, Cisco. Leave it for the clown.
Well, yeah. At least on this show, like there's an actual facility to put these people in, and not just the basement of Star Labs with no bathroom. Yeah. All right. So this is not on next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks when Gotham is, and I guess Flash will be back then too. So hope you'll stick around for that. Bye.